You are going to run. Two other...
I'm going to run, Larry. I'm going to win.
Let's talk a little bit about the Senate. Let's talk about this. The Senate's important, man. This is an important thing going on here in the Senate. In the Senate, we have something called the majority leader. Right now, it's the minority leader because we have the minority, but we won a whole bunch of Senate seats, so we're going to have a majority in the Senate. And there's, with Mitch McConnell retiring, with Mitch McConnell saying, I'm done with this, forget it, I don't want any more, I'm done work, I don't want to be in the, I'm old, I've already had trouble with my, he's frozen a couple times, people like, you got to go. Well, Mitch McConnell needs a replacement. And what happens with the Senate majority leader is the senators in the Senate choose the majority leader by secret ballot, which is kind of shady. And there's been a push this time around from the public, from the voters, from podcasters, from the conservative media to change the system a little bit. First of all, the two main contenders, one of them is a guy named John Thune from South Dakota. And John Thune is not a real big Trump supporter. In fact, John Thune at one point said Donald Trump should step down and Mike Pence should be the nominee immediately. This was after, I don't remember what it was exactly, but I think it was in 2016. Donald Trump and John Thune have had kind of this back and forth relationship. But John Thune also is a politician, and he knows now if he wants to get anywhere in the world, he's going to need Donald Trump's support. And he was on Squawk Box, and he was asked about it, and he said, I think Donald Trump should really just butt out of this.
Next Wednesday, and we'll have... Is President-elect Trump involved in does he have a chosen preference in the Senate? Do you know, Senator? And will that come into play?
I don't know that he does. I'm staying in regular contact with him and with his team. And, obviously, if he wants to, he could exert a considerable amount of influence on that. But honestly, I think my preference would be, and I think it's probably in his best interest, to stay out of that. These Senate secret ballot elections are probably best left to senators, and he's got to work with all of us when it's all said and done. But whatever he decides to do, that's going to be his prerogative, as we know. And
how many others
we're going to have that election next Wednesday, and we'll have a new leader.
Is President-elect Trump...
All right, so there we go. So John Thune is saying, Donald Trump, it's his prerogative. Of course, we can't stop him from getting involved, but I feel like this should just be a Senate thing. Of course he feels that way. Why? Because he crossed Donald Trump in the past. He told everyone that Donald Trump shouldn't be the nominee, that Mike Pence should be. Of course you don't want Donald Trump getting involved, because Donald Trump probably is not going to be a huge fan of John Thune being the Senate Majority Leader. And Senate Majority Leader wields a lot of power and needs to work with Donald Trump to get Donald Trump's agenda done quickly. Another guy who's up for the job is John Cornyn, who's like 74, another old dude from Texas. And John Cornyn, also not a huge Donald Trump fan, but the bigger problem with John Cornyn is just Mitch McConnell 2.0. John Cornyn and Mitch McConnell have been buddy-buddy forever. He's been kind of his right-hand man. And so John Thune and John Cornyn are battling it out. But there's a third name that's been popping up. A third name from right here in the state of Florida, Rick Scott. And Rick Scott is about as MAGA as they come. Rick Scott is about as anti-establishment as they become. Rick Scott is a businessman. He's a billionaire. He made lots of money. He decided, I'm going to go be the best governor of Florida that he could be. And he was the best governor of Florida until maybe Ron DeSantis came by. And I think now they're tied. But Rick Scott then went into the Senate. He's an amazing senator. He's an amazing influence. He works hard for conservative values and the people of the state of Florida. And the best part about Rick Scott is he's filthy rich. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need to kowtow to the special interests. He doesn't need to take bribes or kickbacks or payouts or anything like that. He doesn't need to look forward to the future and make decisions in the Senate based on what's going to help him when he retires. He doesn't need one of those jobs. Rick Scott wants to help America. He wants to save the government just like Donald Trump does. He wants to put in place conservative leadership who will pass conservative laws and will work for the American people and not for themselves, and not just power brokers who are going to broker for more power. And Rick Scott is he's the spoiler in this race. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Rick Scott doesn't have a chance. It's either John Thune or John Cornyn, and they're going to duke it out. But it's not going to be Rick Scott. Well, a lot of people are saying Rick Scott not only has a chance, but should be the pick. In fact, Scott Pressler, our good buddy from Pennsylvania, came out and said Rick Scott needs to be the Senate Majority Leader. TPUSA chairman and CEO, Charlie Kirk, said, you know what? Rick Scott needs to be the Senate leader. Dan Bongino, me, a bunch of other people. Rick Scott was on with, what's his name, on Fox Business, and he was adamant about not only, he pulled a Donald Trump. He was like, this is Donald Trump in 2015. Not only am I going to run, I'm going to win.
You are going to run. Two other...
I'm going to run, Larry. I'm going to win. And here's why. I've been talking to my Republican colleagues. Guess what? They want change. They know that Trump has a mandate. They want to be part of that mandate. They want to be treated as equals. They want to be part of a team. They want to have a working relationship with the House. They know I've got a great working relationship with Trump, with Speaker Mike Johnson. They know I'm a business guy. Business guys get things done. We create a plan. We work our mission. We measure things. We create teams. That's exactly what we want in the Senate, and that's why I'll be the next majority leader, and we're going to get Trump's agenda accomplished.
Now, this seems to me like a no-brainer, but it's Washington, D.C., and a lot of these people have no brains. And what he said there is 100% right. A lot of people want change. This is where the whole saving the republic continues. You know, everyone's like, oh, we saved the republic. Well, we did. But there's new enemies. There's new challenges. There's new things that occur. There's new fights that we have to get into. There's new throwdowns that we got to throw down. And now we know what we want done. We know what Donald Trump wants done. We just heard his 10-point plan. We know how to make America great again. We know we need to shut down the border and deport all the illegals and drill, baby, drill. We know we need to fix the economy and put tariffs on all these products. We know we need to root out the leakers and the corruption in our agencies. And we know that the legacy media is dying and we need to shove that final stake right through its heart. And that's not a threat. That's just a metaphor from vampire days. If any of the censors are watching, that's just a vampire metaphor. But that's what we need to do, and that's what we want to do. And we can't go into the Senate majority. We can't go into a Donald Trump term with people in positions of power who are not on board with the cause, who are not down for the struggle, who are not with the agenda, who are not loyal to the leader. And John Thune and John Cornyn are not loyal to Donald Trump. They are loyal to Mitch McConnell. They are loyal to themselves. They are loyal to the power that they feel that they can get as Senate Majority Leader. Rick Scott is loyal to the American people. He's loyal to the American concept. He's loyal to the American experiment. And he's loyal to Donald Trump and Donald Trump's agenda to make America great again and put America first. And so what does this have to do with you? You don't get to vote for Senate Majority Leader. No. But you get to vote for senator. So wherever you are, Rick Scott is my senator, so I'm not going to call him and tell him to vote for himself because I feel like he's going to. I'm pretty sure Marco Rubio has Rick Scott's back as well because Marco Rubio is also down for Donald Trump's struggle. I know Mike Lee is a supporter of Rick Scott. I know there are a handful of senators that would vote for Rick Scott as majority leader. But the problem is it takes more than a handful. And you have a senator wherever you happen to be, whether you're in Oklahoma, you've got senators. You do have senators. If you're in Ohio, you have one senator right now. Everybody's got senators. Wherever you happen to be, call your senator, write to your senator and say Rick Scott for Senate Majority Leader. That's all you have to do. You leave a voicemail message. Hi, it's so-and-so. I'm one of your constituents, and I want you to know you need to vote for Rick Scott to be the Senate Majority Leader. And it may not be something you've ever done. It may be something you're not comfortable doing. It may be something that you're like, what do I even have a voice? Yeah. We need to realize that the American people control the country. If we've realized anything, it's that. And it doesn't just stop after the election. You don't just get to make your voice heard once every 4 years. You get to do it every single day. And we need to be up and we need to be adamant and we need to know what's going on with this country at all times. We need to know what those people in Washington are trying to do to us or for us or against us. And we need to stand up and say something. And if you want to, look, Donald Trump's going to get his agenda done. He's going to do things. He's got Susie Wiles. He's got a great team. He's got Elon. He's got RFK Jr. He's got Vivek Ramaswamy. He's got all of them. He's going to get stuff done. But if you want to turbo boost it, if you want to rocket fuel it, if you want to take away every single speed bump and roadblock and other thing that could possibly slow him down. I don't know what else, geese crossing the road, whatever it is, then you need to give him every conceivable advantage. And John Thune is not an advantage, he's a disadvantage. And John Cornyn is not an advantage, he's a disadvantage. And Rick Scott is a big, huge advantage as Senate Majority Leader. And he will make sure, just like he said, that Donald Trump's agenda is pushed through the Senate. He's going to work with Mike Johnson in the House of Representatives, and he's going to work with the White House. And you will be amazed at how quickly everything will be changed for the better.